All right, so welcome again, everyone, to our 11th webinar. It's nice to see you all familiar faces again. Last week we had a bit of a curveball with Exco throwing us beating us for the 6 over there with stage 4 load shedding. But this week we good. And hopefully going forward as well, we will be good as well, on a Wednesday evening especially. I'm still your host. I actually tried to get another host for this evening, and it's just to add a different flavor in the mix, but wasn't successful. Hopefully next week, because I think I'm presenting with Ashley next week, so yeah, perhaps we can get a host for next week. Anyone that wanted to have put of the hand, you're welcome to contact me. All right, so this evening we've got 2 topics. The first topic will be presented by Mario Opperman. He will be talking to us about how he can take you up to the position of just surviving and taking it to where it actually thrives. And I think he'll use the Volleyball Sporting Club as an example of what they've done there. I'll introduce Mario in a second. Then we have the second presentation will be done by Salie. Fakier. He's making his comeback again after his first presentation in webinar 8. So he'll be talking to us about the block, which is the fifth basic skill acquisition in our series of 6. Next week we'll be doing this one, which is the gig. Okay, so before I hand over to Mario, let me just introduce Mario to all of us. And I asked Mario for his profile. He was quite modest and he gave me a short version of his profile over the last 22 years, but he's done a lot in volleyball over 22 years. So just a modest kind of is, but yeah, okay, here it goes. So Mario was born and bred in the beautiful part of the WCVA, which is Poland, in particular in Worcester. That's where he basically met his wife here as well, Simone. They married with 2 kids. Perhaps they can make the 6th full there to make it the volleyball team. He started his volleyball journey at his high school in 1998, which is about 22 years ago. So he's been in the game for quite some time. He's a founder member and current president of the Volleyball Sporting Club in Worcester, which was established in 2018, 2 years ago. I think they just celebrated their 2nd birthday now recently. So well done on that, Mario and the team there. And he currently holds a technical director position on the Cape Islands Volleyball District. And he also holds a marketing position on the Western Cape Volleyball Association. Mario stems an experience of predominantly in administration and management of organizations and also starting up organizations. He has helped start up many other organizations in the past. Okay. Mario also joined the Volley for Hope project at the start of 2020 and has already proven himself to be someone you can actually depend on. So if you want to get the job done on time and to a high standard, then Mario is your man. He's proven that. So without any further ado, I want to hand you over to Mario Opperman. He'll be talking to us about clubs and taking clubs from a surviving position to actually higher. Mario, the floor is yours, so to speak.
Thank you, Yusuf. Good evening, guys. Thank you for joining us. So, like Yusuf said, the topic that we'll be covering is more of a backbone type of topic that we will be covering. I'm not sure, is my mic okay, Yusuf?
There is a noise there. I don't know whether it's your mic. It probably is because everyone else is muted except for Galaxy A50.
Yusuf? Also mic?
That's better.
It's better.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. I think I just need to speak up a bit. Okay. All right. So let me get going. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna put up a number of slides, and it's also all of it is based on our club. So let me just get a quick. Okay, so if you want to start a new club, or if you want to reinvent your current club, then this is what you can do, or you can at least try it. So, like Yusuf said, I started and founded, established, and so forth. I've done it a number of times, so I know the ins and outs a bit more. So basically, what Ballers Sporting Club did, we are obviously a multi-sports club, and we started our volleyball club. We started with a volleyball club in 2018, and then we just last month we kicked off with our soccer club or football club, and then actually these slides that I'm going to cover, these slides are actually the slides for our meeting that we have next week, Saturday. We are starting formal codes, yes it is. So next week I'll be doing these slides again. So this is information that you are getting. You're actually getting information before the people that need to get it. So what this slide says here, registration and administration. What it says here, or what this is all about, is like you can see the Ballers Sporting Club that's registered as an NPC. It's a non-profit company. In all the other sporting codes below it is registered as non-profit organizations. So just the difference between the two there, because Ballers Sporting Club has a board of directors, and then all the other sporting codes, they have executive committees. So the difference between the two there is, if it's a non-profit company, it means you have directors on the board, which means it's almost a standalone type of situation where the board is separate from anyone else. Now when you start or when you register, you can either decide for yourself. You can either go for an NPC straight, or you can go as an NPO. But if you are looking at really, protecting your club in the board or the executive members on your club, then I would say let's go the NPC route, which gives you a lot of protection in a sense, because what happens is people start clubs, and then there's an executive, and then things happen in a club, and then members get together and they decide to vote you out. So that's basically what happens in some clubs, or it has happened. So if you want to cover yourself, I would say go that route, because then it's a board of directors, and then basically a board of directors can't be voted out unless one person resigns, and then the other members can co-opt someone there. So that is what we've done there. And then very important, if you are looking to get money from any company or most companies, they would want you to issue them a Section 18A certificate, which means if the company does sponsor or does donate any funds, it means that they can get it means it's a tax deductible donation. So which means the company doesn't actually lose money. The company can get it back. So that is vitally important. If you register as an NPC, you get a certificate of incorporation, and if you register as an NPO, obviously you get an NPO certificate. But then you need to register for that as well. If you do want it, I can email you there's a checklist that you can also get on SARS on the website. There's a checklist. If you complete everything on the checklist, you are basically ready to go and submit. And some people think that you need an accountant to do that, and that's actually not the case. you can do it on your own, and you can go and submit on your own. For that, you don't need an accountant. I'm just saying. So and then it's also very important if you are looking for money, it's important for the club to have its own bank account in the name of the club, and I think that one is a bit more common, and people know that one as well. Okay, so I'm going to move over to the next one. So this is the chart for Ballers Sporting Club. I'm going to move over to Ballers Volleyball Club. There's a chart for that one as well, but I just want you to see how we've mapped out the sporting club, right? So right at the top, you have Ballers Sporting Club. That's our board, and it's a 3-member board. So basically, again, when we started Ballers Sporting Club, the one Nadia, that's my sister. The one on the other end, Peter, that's my sister, and the other one, that's my wife. So basically, what I did there as well is I've asked my own people. I mean, if you can't get your sisters or your wife to buy into what you're trying to do, then I mean, there's a problem already. And then on the other end as well, if it's people you know, and if it's people that's close to you, it means those people, they have your back and they got you covered. So again, you are trying to protect your club, and you're trying to protect your club from someone else coming in and taking over. So basically, if you get your own people in there, I'm just saying, then they got your back. There won't be some sort of a takeover. Someone comes in and take the club over. Then below that is our, or I call it our defense line. Basically, the other day on Facebook, Yusuf would know, someone was saying something there about our club, and I told him, listen, don't do it. There might be repercussions, and I wasn't joking, because there you can see we do have an attorney, and basically what the attorney is doing there for us at the moment, because we have our founding documents, we have our constitutions, we have our club policies and all this type of stuff. So what we do is we write those type of things, or let me say I write those, and then we send it to our attorney. He's looking into it. He's looking at loopholes, at what can be added, what needs to be taken out, or something to that effect. So at the moment, all of it is let's say it's precautionary measures that we're taking at the moment. So if anything does happen, then you know we covered. Plus, if we do, or when we do our contracts for our players, our attorney looks at that as well. Then we have our director of sport, which is also Opperman. We are not related, but he's our director of sport, and this person is really interconnected. He knows a lot about sports administration. He's been on a number of sporting coach executives, and I mean on the district level at least. So on his side, he basically covers all the sports, all the different clubs that we have or that we are starting. So he's covering that, and anything that has to do with any of the codes. And then on the other side, we have our pastor, and he is basically our spiritual covering. So if there's anything that we need to, if someone needs counseling, if someone needs to just needs to get some leading in that way, then we are covered there as well. So to us, that is our line of defense, where we have our attorney that covers us legally. We have our pastor that covers us spiritually, and then we have our director of sport, which covers all other issues pertaining to our sporting coach. Then if we go down, there you can see there's our club director for the volleyball, and then we have a football club director as well. So I've just put those two there so you can see who our deputy chairpersons and all those are. Actually, the one person he is still in Johannesburg at the moment, but they're moving back to Worcester, and he'll be joining the team soon. So then, like I've just said, on Saturday we actually have a bigger meeting with 4 other sporting coaches. So come Saturday, we'll be able to fill in those blanks there as well. But one key thing that I just want to say here is if you look at our secretary and our treasurer, it remains the same throughout, and that's basically 5-6 different treasurers or 5-6 different secretaries. It makes it easy for us to reconcile everything, and it takes out the a lot of the traffic there in the red tape. So it's also putting in one treasurer there. It's also protecting the money there as well. And then with the secretary, you have one secretary, which makes it easier for me at least. Then I don't have to liaise with 6 different secretaries. Then at the bottom, those are our support staff, and we have Mone there, and he's our recruitment officer. So at the moment, Ballers is looking at different players, and that's what we do for him. But I'm not going to go into that too much. And then we have a academy director, and he's also just like our recruitment officer. He'll be looking after all our sport coaches. Will eventually have a youth academy, so he'll be covering all of that, or he'll be responsible for all of that basically. And then very important, our marketing and media officer. With everything that's happening in the club, it's very important for us to have someone like that who knows what to do, and he has the experience of doing this type of thing. So that's basically just an overview. And like you hear, I talk a lot about the backbone and protecting that backbone, which is really, really important. If we go over to the next slide, this is our volleyball club, and what we're doing with the volleyball club, because the volleyball club it's about 2 years old, or it is 2 years old, and as we create or get more coach on board, we'll just basically duplicate each sport coach and what happens in the structure of it, so it makes it easier. The longer and the more we do it. But just on this one, I'm going to spend a bit of time on this one. And if you look at the top, that's now our executive committee of our volleyball club, and then right below there you'll see there's our beach director, our youth director, and our fitness and conditioning coach. In COVID, we've really used COVID to maximize our efforts, and for us, COVID was a special time because we could do all of this. We had enough time to put our heads together and to think and to plot and to strategize how we're going to do this. So just on this slide, with us being if you look at it, we are about 10 members in our executive, or let me say management team, because one thing that I found that is if you are 34 members in your, which is your executive, but if you look at your management team should comprise of your executive committee, your coaches, your team captains, and just quick, if you have an executive committee of 4 members, you have a men's and a ladies team. That gives you at least 2 coaches, which makes it 6, and then you get at least 2 captains, which makes it 8. And if you have 2 on-court captains, that brings you to what did I say now? 8. So which means you already have a bigger team. So what we were able to do in COVID was we were able to run at least 1 or 2 fundraisers, because we were 10 members, which are all in our management team, and from there we could keep the ball rolling. We could keep the bank account ticking. We could come together. We could strategize, and we could have meetings. So it's important for us to include our our executive committee, like I said, executive coaches, team captains. It's important for us to include all of those people in our team or in our management teams, because eventually it makes it easier if for you to do something, you need to sell it to your coaches, to your team captains, and then it needs to filter through to your team, so that all of them can buy it. But if you have your coaches in your team captains in there already, it makes it much easier for you as an executive to sell whatever it is to the players. So that's important there. And if we go down to our assistant coaches, or there we have assistant coaches, trainers and medicals. There we are still looking for candidates and for people that we can co. The other thing is also it is vitally important that we co-opt people, and that we look for people who has the necessary skill sets, because it makes it a lot easier for you if you have people. Because if I take, for instance, our volleyball club director, he's a school principal, and our treasurer, she's a teacher as well. Salie, our treasurer, she's a pharmacist assistant. Our head coach, he's a teacher as well. Our fitness and conditioning coach, he's a qualified fitness instructor with about 15 years experience. We have Granville, he's our youth academy. He has his own photography business. So if we look at the people in our management committee, there's people that has the skills that we need. So when we as an executive, or mostly, let me say, if we or if you are the chairperson or the club director or the owner of the club or whatever, it is important for you to scout and to ask around. I mean, our own members in our club, we've asked them as well for if there's anyone that they know that would like to come on board. And it's really surprising how easily people say yes, because people want to get involved, but we just need to ask. That's the only thing, and we need to ask the right people. For me, it's vitally important. If you are not, let me not say if you're not, but if I have a club director, which is a principal, when someone referred him to us, when I heard he's a school principal, I already said we need him, because if you're a school principal, it means you can manage, and you need to manage, a whole school. You need to manage teachers, curriculum, all of those type of stuff. So we need to up our game in terms of recruitment. We need to look at people with skill sets, people that can add value to the team. Because for me, it's important. I sometimes, or most of the time, I say that I don't brag with things. I brag with people. So for me, and this is super nice, and for me, it's actually nice to put their faces up, man, and to tell you this is my team, because I'm like I can say I'm part of my team, and I can tell you this person is that person, this person that, and that adds value to your team, and especially when we take, for instance, our club director, when we've made the announcement on our Facebook platform, all of those, because all of the people he knows are now directly connected to the club. There's more exposure for the club in terms of that. And if they know that he is someone of high standard, or they know that where he's involved, people would say where he's involved, there's only good things that comes with that. So that is really what we're looking at when we look at co-opting members. So that's I think with this slide, what's important is the fact that we need to recruit. We can't have people taking up too many portfolios because they're going to lack in one portfolio. Like you can see here, these people that's occupying two, three portfolios, and that is our next thing that we'll be looking at. We will be looking at co-opting more people, so that we can so that there's less pressure on people. Because the other thing is, once we overload people, you'll see that at the next meeting or the meeting after that, you won't be there, and then you'll start see less of him, and up until he's gone. So it's important for us as directors or club owners or chairpersons to manage the workload of our people as well. And then other thing is as well, it's important for us to take interest in our members, in their well-being and what's going on in their work life, in their family life, what they like, what they don't like, and those are the type of things they pick up on it, and they realize that you actually do care, and that's where you can make the connection. And once there's a connection, I can almost guarantee you that person, it is not just going to drop you, or it's not going to leave, or whatever the case might be. So we need to spend a bit more time on our teams or on our members. So I'm going to move over to the next slide. In this one, once we've set up our structure, and once we've co-opted or recruited the members, or the management, or the executive members in our team, then this becomes vitally important. Now, this is just an extract of some of the points which is in our club development plan, and these all development areas which you can either take out, or you can add your own development areas, and you can put it in order of or you can prioritize it in the order that you feel is best for your club. But I'm gonna go through it briefly, and I think right at the top, senior teams is that is what it's all about. That is where we compete. So senior teams, that is probably the most important thing or aspect that we want to develop. And then our coaches, and I'm just gonna say I've put it in here, and it's in no particular order. So then we need to develop our coaches, and it's not just sending them for a level 1 coaching course. It's development in all other areas that the person needs development in, and that's why I've just said if we spend enough time with our people, or we know what's happening in his family life or in his work life, or what he like or don't like, then he would pick up in what area the person needs to be developed. And then youth development, like I've said, we've started our own academy. So that's where we do our development for our kids. If I can just on that point, I know that dynamics is different in the Cape Winelands, and it's different in Cape Town, right? So for us, it's a bit easier because everything is closer to each other. It's not that far. We don't have to drive half an hour to get somewhere. But just for the Cape Town people, and what will work there is the fact that a club can be based in or at the sports school, which is in Pilsriver, and then you have members that's from Kraaifontein or wherever it is, and those guys or those players need to drive to the training venue, which is fine for your senior teams. But if you look at youth, then that's going to be a huge problem, because the thing is, no one has enough money to take a bus and pick up kids and drive them up and down. So we need to get back to community clubs. I know that in Cape Town, the institutions like UCT and UWC and those type of places, I know that they kind of pick up the better players, and then there's nothing happening in the community. So the Cape Town teams needs to get back to the community and get based in the community, because then it's easier. If you're in the community, then it means the kids are there. You don't have to drive them there. It's a walking distance for them. They can come and they can go home. For us, at the last Volley for Hope festival, we had 4 teams there, and we actually we couldn't take everyone because there were more that wanted to come, but we couldn't. We only had so much transport, and the reason for that is basically because of that. Because we are based in the community, the kids can come and they can go. And the first week we started with about 6 kids, and kids. The next time the other one brought 2, and so forth and so forth, and that's how it goes. But that's vital, being based in the community. So on that is how, and I think what the Cape Town clubs can do, because I know there is an issue with youth or let me say the number of kids that's at a club, and I'm not talking about school. Then people with disability, that's sitting volleyball. Sitting volleyball, it's not that big yet, but I think that we as clubs, we need to get into it, because again, if you're gonna look for money, then that right there, it's gonna give you a lot of points when it comes to your application. So I'm gonna say, in any case, anyone can play, even if you are an able-bodied club, you can still play sitting volleyball. But then it's important to reach out to those people that are actually disabled, because as an able-bodied person, you can play only club level, but you won't be able to get selected for the national team. So again, I'm not just saying that you should do it just to score points, but it does help. That's what I'm going to say, because ballers are actively busy, or right before COVID, we were actually getting off the ground with that, but we'll retake it next year once we start. Then marketing and media, another one which is very important. Like I've spoken about the youth development, right? Now the thing is, we can now say, yeah, but there isn't enough youth at our clubs. What are we doing wrong? And I'm going to tell you now, we are big on marketing and media. If you go to our website, if you go to our Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. If you go there, you'll see we are big on putting everything out there, and we've gotten some really good feedback from people saying we like what you're doing, because people can follow what we're doing. They know what's happening in the club, and they can see. It also comes down to transparency and those type of things. But then getting back to the youth development, we have found through our stats and analysis of especially our Facebook users, the users are becoming younger and younger, and you'll be surprised at the age of the kids that's now on Facebook, right? So if you do want to get more kids there, or anyone for that matter, because nowadays that youngster, he wants to see if his spike is going to be on the YouTube or on the Facebook channel, and that's how it is. That's the nature of kids today. And they can have bragging rights. They can refer their friends to your Facebook page. They can share it, and they can say, yeah, check out this spike or this block or whatever it is. But it's really important. If you want to get out there, you need to do this. The other thing as well is, especially with having a website, if I talk to anyone, or anyone in the club talk to a potential donor or something, then without us having to explain the whole club or what we're trying to do, I can just say go and watch, or go and have a look at our website, or our Facebook or Instagram, whatever the case might be, and that speaks for us. You get what I'm saying? That speaks for us. So we can't have an open air and tell everyone what we're doing. That is talking for us. So that is important. If you want to get to the money, again, like I said, if you want to get to the money, remember, sponsors, they want airtime. For them, it's a matter of marketing as well. So if you can get your numbers up, your subscribers, your likes, and all those type of things, if you can get it up, then it means you're gonna get noticed. For us, this has been vital, and what we have created enough of a presence for clubs, or for sponsors, and for people to notice us. What what we also on that, because I'm just spending a bit of time there because it's important. What we used to do on a monthly basis, we had about 200 rand. We had about 200 rand per month, which we spent on Facebook ads to get our likes up. I've looked, and we were at about 2,300 somewhere there. I'm not quite sure. And we did that on a monthly basis to get our numbers up. And now the club is growing. Once another coach, we started another coach, which is our soccer club. The soccer players now came and they started liking our page. Their friends started, their family started to like our page. And the more we add to the club, the more our viewers and our likes and those type of things are going to grow. And now we are actually at the point where we don't actually have to spend money on social media marketing, because we actually there's good traction now, and we actually we get 5 Facebook page likes per day now. That's now on average. So that's ticking over nicely now, because we got the ball rolling there. With that as well, that's what I'm saying. It's important. It also talks about the attractiveness of your club, right? So people are not going to want to come to your club if they don't know what's happening there, they don't see anything happening there. So to them, your club might not be dead, but because you are not top of mind, you are not the first club they will think of when they do want to make a move. So that talks about the attractiveness of the club as well. It's not the only thing that contributes to the attractiveness of the club, but it does help to put your club top of mind and to create some kind of a vibe for your club. All right. And then atomic or house league development, that's important as well, because you want to get your guys to be more competitive, and that's something that you can do easily, and that's something that we've actually started before COVID, and which will continue when we start. You can split teams up in 4, 5, and then you can create small type of leagues in your club, which will be something for them to look out for, something that is nice for them to look forward to. Then competition development, that ties into the house league that you can create. That is gonna or that's basically the stepping stone towards your competition development. Because when we talk competition development, we're talking next level participation, basically. So that's where you really get into it, and you get the right coaches and those type of stuff. Facilities and equipment, that's vital, because I mean you need the right stuff to get the right job done, or to get the job done right. But then that also talks about the attractiveness of your club, because if for instance you practice in some place where it's not conducive for high level volleyball, then you're not going to get high level players. You get what I'm saying. So that is something that we've worked on tirelessly as well, and hopefully when COVID lifts, we'll be able to move to our new training facility, or our new home court, if I can put it that way. But that we will definitely make an announcement of that one. And then membership growth, which is also important. I don't think we actually gives it. I don't actually think we give it enough thought. We need to because members are, you're not just going to grow members out of nowhere. There needs to be a plan, an action plan for you to grow your membership, and it ties into all of the other things. I mean, if you have a decent senior team, if you have decent coaches, if you if you have a youth development program going, if you have media, I mean, media is really important in growing your membership. So all of those things that I've spoken about, all of those things are important in growing your membership. But there are other ways of doing it as well. But yeah, I think one can just apply his mind and see what you can come up with. And then communication for us is vital as well. Communication is a big part of what we do. I mean, and then I'm talking about organizational communication, because we are a big team. We have multiple sports coaches, so communication and doing that right is vital for us. At the moment, almost we're all doing WhatsApp groups, but COVID-19 has also brought us some nice online applications that we can use. So there's no more excuses that we can't do meetings. And I understand data is also expensive, but I'm also going to say this: we are migrating to Microsoft Teams, which makes it much more easier, because with Microsoft Teams you can because in a WhatsApp group you'll send a document, and as the chats go on, their document gets lost somewhere, and you don't see it again. But like with some of you guys that does use Microsoft Teams are more than just a Zoom meeting like we're doing now. It's actually something where you can create teams, where you can post documents which will stay in the document section, and it doesn't get lost in the chat timeline. So on there you can put in you can put in dates for certain stuff and all those type of things. So
Mario,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you on borrowed time now? Right? Just to say.
Yes. Sorry, Yusuf.
No, you have borrowed time. To say.
Yeah. Okay.
Well done. Carry on.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm running through it quickly. So I'm just saying that Teams is a nice app to use if you want to upscale your communication. And then there's administration development, which is for your organization and stuff. But then again, I think this is in fact the last slide. This is our social media marketing. We actually have a full social media marketing plan, which I can't share here. But just again, I mean, all these type of things, it's free, and or most of it's free, and you can start it right away. You just need to get someone that is dedicated to doing this alone. And what I've noticed is it is much more than what we know. This can really take your club to the next level if you're looking to do that. So this is where you can find this is our platforms, and go take a look at it and just see what we're doing there, and then by all means go and duplicate it if you need to do that. But I think if you look at it, you will get a very good idea of what you can do and what you can't do, and how you can make it your own, basically. So I've tried to rush through my slides and to get everything in, and to get questions later if there's any. So thank you, Yusuf.
Mario, thanks, man. Thanks and well done. Really well done. And I think your last few words over there about copying what you guys are doing, I think it's a very good recipe, to copy for clubs starting out and also clubs that actually want to reinvent themselves, and people mustn't be afraid to copy what actually works out there. Don't reinvent the wheel, as they say. And as in Mario, I think he will be open to people contacting him, afterwards as well, to maybe just get more information and stuff. But really well done. I think there's maybe one or two questions and comments also in the chat, but I think we'll cover that, at the end of the Salie's presentation. Thanks a lot again. So I'm going to just quickly introduce Salie now. Before we start with this topic, I think most of us in the session tonight know Salie, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Salie's been involved in volleyball since 1989. I think it's 9 or 10 years before Mario started, and Mario's been in the game for a long time. In 1989, Salie started. Excuse me. And he's made a promise to himself to dedicate himself to the growth and the improvement of volleyball in the Western Cape. The upliftment of the kids is in becoming better players. That's key to him, and then to become role models within their communities. Salie was introduced to volleyball by the captain of the Zonnebloem Teachers College, and that's way back in 1989. Salie's inspiration came from the youth trendsetters at the time, and I think we all know Adrian Kostreboom, Russell, and Cantor Africa. He had a short stint at D6 Volleyball Club, but decided to start a new club in his community, so they started the Vikings Volleyball Club. After a few good years, Salie joined the Telkom Volleyball Club, also for a short period, and then finally joined the Saints Volleyball Club in 1994, where he would find his own. He immediately made an impact and became very good friends with Dr. Gabriels. And over the years, Salie has served the Saints Volleyball Club in the positions as assistant treasurer, secretary, and eventually became chairperson of the club as well. In 2006, he started a new generation of Saints called the All-Star Saints Club, and he's still a member of the club today. So well done, Salie, on that. Salie has been serving Western Province Volleyball as well in an official capacity for plus minus 20 years. And I think he deserves a medal for that one. Under 5 different presidents, and he's still serving today as vice president of the Western Cape Town Volleyball Federation, as it's known now. Salie's involvement in volleyball spans an incredible 32 years, either as a player, an administrator, or as a coach. I hand you over to Salie Fakier, who will talk to us about volleyball's equivalent to the gegenpressing philosophy for those football people out there. Something that's introduced by Jürgen Klopp, and that's basically stopping people as soon as possible where they're on the offense. So in our case, obviously that's at the block. It's the first line of defense. So Salie will be talking us through the block this evening, which is, as I said, it's the 5th basic skill acquisition in our series. Yes, so over to you, Salie.
Yusuf?
Yes.
Just hang on. Okay, Yusuf, are you in? Can you see my presentation?
I can see your presentation, yeah.
Okay. Okay, good evening, Ladies and gentlemen, warm welcome to our 11th webinar. Tonight we have reached our 6th topic of our basic skills, which is called the block. Now, blocking in volleyball is one of the most worked on skills out there. It is complex, it's demanding, and it requires great discipline and a large amount of practice to be good at it. So the difficulty of blocking requires that it be kept simple as possible. Now the block, if you're looking at the block, okay, blocking is an action at the net when one or more players jump and use both hands to try and stop the ball entering the side of the court and giving a scoring opportunity to the opponents. The functions of the block, it's the most effective defensive and offense element open to the defending team. It is an important tool for decision making, especially with the cover defense. By blocking, it forces the hitter to hit the ball. Maybe if they hit the ball past the block, but they will hit the ball straight to your defense. The importance of blocking, it's the first line of defense. It stops or channels offensive balls, spikes to our best defenders. Blocks always forces hitters to change their shots. Meaning, obviously, if you've got a good hitter on the other side and he sees the block, then obviously he's not going to try and go through the block. He's going to try and find ways past the blocks. So if he needs to find ways past the block, he's obviously going to change his shot. And then getting a touch on the block, on blocking, it slows down the hard hit balls, and it makes the pickup much easier in the backcourt. Now the blocking, it's very important with the starting position. The feet, the feet is about shoulder width apart and upper arm distance from the net, with knees slightly bent. The blocking player is directly at the net, with hands slightly raised in front of the chest, hands at about face height for blocking higher sets, and almost full extension with quick attacks. So especially with the quick attacks, it's better to obviously reach for the stars, meaning full extension, and the hands must face the net. So let me just check something quickly. Okay, now you can see here, and before I go to the next slide, you can see feet and shoulder width apart. You will see the blocker facing directly the net, and you will see the hands obviously facing the net. Okay. Now the next slide is the preparation to the block. So it's a explosive knee flexion and extension jumping action. Now the extension of the arms at shoulder and elbows, sliding the hands up to the surface of the net to full extension. The takeoff is from both feet, from a low ready position, with or without arm support in the form of swinging. And in the case of active arm support, the arms are swung high and close to the body with a side arm swing. Now hands start reaching over the net as soon as the top of the net is reached. Head position should be between the arms and not back looking up. So there you can see explosive knee, and you can see here on the slide, explosive knee flexion, okay, extension of the arms, take off here from both feet, and hands reaching over the net, and as soon as top of the net is reached. Now the hands and the fingers. Now the fingers should be spread and slightly flexed. You can see there on the diagram. And the hand should be slightly rotated laterally. The reason why it creates a wider block, and it also forces the elbows closer. Now, obviously, with the elbows closer, you don't want to block with your elbows wide open, because then the attacker can hit through the middle of your arms, and then obviously in your face, and you can break a nose. Now your hands also should not try and turn the ball to the inside. Your hands should rather just set your block position according to the anticipated angle of the attack. Now, if you look at blocking, it's also good. It's also good when you look at the balancing and the timing. Now, if you look at the balancing, it's a very important aspect of blocking. Players should be, say, 1.5 arm's length from the net with weight equally distributed on the balls of the feet. The feet should be pointed straight to the net, not sideways, but straight to the net. The blocker stay balanced just before making the move to get in position. By maintaining balance, the blocker can react to the set and move quickly. If you're not balanced, say you're off balance, then obviously you're never ever gonna make the block. Okay, you're gonna be too late, or the blocker's not gonna be formed. So maintaining the balance, it's very important. But also, with your balance, the timing must also be right. The blocking player must take off later than the spike. You cannot jump with your spiker. By delaying momentarily, okay, when the spiker jumps, your blockers will be at the apex of the jump when they contact the ball. Now, you ask why, okay? Why must the blocker delay the jump? And it's only logical, because spikers, all your spikers, they usually contact the ball at the apex of their jump, all right? But it takes time for that ball to travel from the spiker's hand to the net. So if the blocker jumps at the same time of the spiker, you will be falling by the time the ball reaches the contact area near the net. So it's crucial that you wait, and then you time your block jump to perfection. Now the movement along the net, it is extremely important to keep the shoulders as parallel to the net as possible. The efficiency of footwork is also crucial into getting the body into proper blocking position in time. You don't want to, by the time you must block, you don't wanna fall over your feet when you're in front and you should be blocking. So your footwork is crucial. It's also important to be stopped and balanced when jumping for a block. Now, a little advice. The footwork cannot be learned by chance, but must be precisely worked on. Okay? So you start, if you do blocking drills or if you start with blocking, start slow and simple. And then as you progress, and then you move to fast and complex. Now the types of blocks by number of players. As we know, you get a single block, but a single block, it's not the most effective type of blocking. A single block allows the back row to dig or pass more easily and prevents a free kill. When your opposition, when your opposition is running multiple hitters on approach, you may have to divide your blockers so each can be ready to single block if necessary. Then you have a double block. It's two blockers focus attention on the opposition's hitters to deflect and attack ball at the net. Now, whoever the player is closest to being in front of the attacker, that player becomes the primary blocker. So if you're now outside and you blocking a utility, then obviously you become the primary blocker. The teammate next to them needs to come in and assist by lining up as closely as possible to create a wall. Now, we all know volleyball, and we know that obviously the teammate that we're talking about is the middle blocker. So triple blocking. The triple blocking is the most effective type. Why? Because with more hands available to deflect the ball and you want to deter the play. So it's best in many situations to have a triple block. So triple block, all three front row players jump in unison. It's very important. All three front row players jump in unison to create a triple block. This really becomes the goal when you're facing a dominant hitter, that you need to obviously shut down. If you can mount a solid wall, the hitter will be forced to play around or over it, which will give your back row a much easier ball to defend. Now that is what a triple block. Okay. Now if you look, you obviously you must now get a single block. If you look at the presentation, you will see that's a single block. That's a double block. And look at the triple block there. Okay. Now, with a single block, you get the active block. Now, an active block is when the hands are held above half a ball apart with fingers spread wide. The arms are held extended, directed to the opposing court as far as possible. And when the ball is touched, it is pushed downward towards the opponent's court with an active wrist movement. There you can see arms, okay, extended and directed to the opposing court, okay. And when you touch the ball, you push downward with an active wrist movement. Now with a single block, the passive block. Now with a passive block, the hands do not extend over the net because of less athletic or physical abilities. Or sometimes in volleyball you get where we say no, but the block was too late. Now this is sometimes then a coach will say just get your hands up. So that passive block is when a player only tries to get his hand over the top of the net out held to cover the direction of the spike. The palms are presented passively to the ball in extension of the net. There you can see, if I go back, you can see her hands is not protruding or she's blocking passively. Okay. Because she's only aiming to get a touch on that ball. Now the single block objective is to experience the single block as an effective defense and offense element against a spike or attack shot. To apply it as a passive or active block as the situation requires. So when you're single blocking as a player and you're in a situation, as a player, you will have to decide whether you're going to block passively or you're going to block actively. Now with the double blocking, the movement of each player in the double block is very much similar to that of a single block, except for the approach. The cooperation of the blocking players is, however, of major significance. Now with double blocking and the approach, you get running steps, you get sideways strides, and you get cross steps. Now the running steps is to perform this move, you basically just start taking a few quick steps to get to the blocking position. With the sideways strides, here you basically start by jumping literally off one foot. Now, when you move to your left, you take a big stride with your left foot followed by the right foot. And obviously vice versa when you're blocking from the other side. So once that left or right foot follows, then you land and you jump straight up. Now the two important points of this is that you want to jump line up in front of where the hitter will be contacting the ball. You cannot jump past the hitter. Then you're going to leave a gap. You also want to make sure that you are balanced before you jump. Like I said, the balancing of the block. Okay. Now with the cross step, this is to travel a greater distance sideways at the net. Okay. Now to move to your left, you take a step with your left foot, then you cross with your right foot over in front of your body. Your body is now sideways. And this all happens in front by the net. After you have planted your right foot, turn and face the net and then jump straight up to the block. Also, the outside blocking player determines the takeoff place. Okay, meaning your outside blocker, or when you're blocking on your utility, it determines the takeoff place if you have outside or utility hitters on the other side. The blocker facing the attacker blocks the ball frontally, and the assistant player, the middle, diagonally blocks the area. Now you will see here on the presentation, you will see, here's the hitter. There's the block facing the attacker. There's the middle blocker. He's blocking diagonally. So he's blocking that area there. Okay. The same on this pic. There's the hitter. There's the blocker facing the attacker, which is this one here. And there's the middle blocker. Okay. He's taking out the other area. Now the objective of the double blocking, the player should experience and use double block as a very effective group tactical defense action with offensive type of characteristics. Now, depending Now, depending on the player's ability, they should be able to form double blocks actively or passively. Again, same as the single blocking. Okay. Here you can also, as a team, you must decide when you're doing a double block. Are we gonna block actively or are we gonna block passively? Now look at the first pick here. You will see that active blocking. Look the hands on the other side of the court. Okay. Here you will see here with the females, it's more about passive blocking. Okay. Now the concept behind single, double, and triple blocking. Okay. Each blocker needs to stay close to the net and keep the hands at shoulder level with their palms facing the net. Once the ball is set to the hitter, the blocker needs to follow the hitter. You must follow the hitter and keep their eyes on them. Wait for the opponent to jump first and then jump immediately after the attacker jump. While up in the air, reach and stretch your hand over the net. Make sure you angle your hands so that the ball will rebound off your hands and fall on the opponent's court. Whether you touch the ball or not, you must immediately look for the ball and continue to play if possible. Now the middle blockers. On defense, the middle blocker position is the player at the net in the middle of the court between the two outside blockers. Outside blocker and utility. The middle blocker strives to be involved in blocking the opponent's hitters wherever they may be in the court. So, by saying that, your middle blocker is actually your main blocker. Why? Because his work rate is much higher than all the other blockers. He blocks each and every ball, whether the ball is spiked from the backcourt, whether the ball is spiked in the middle, his opposite player, or if the ball is on the spike on the wings, he wants to block each and every ball. So the middle blocker is always on the move. That this player is often very quick and tall because they have the responsibility of defending against both the opponent's middle and the outside hitters. Now with the blocking strategy, with blocking tactics, okay. With blocking tactics, you get attack block. That's an aggressive attempt to block a spike ball. You get where you close the block when all the blockers join to form a wall. You get a stuff block, a tremendous block that sends the ball straight to the floor with force. And then you get a read block. And this type of block, it determines where the setter sets the ball. And then the blockers will react and move to stop the hitter. And then commit block is where the blockers are assigned to jump with the hitter without knowing where the ball is going to be set. Now, read block. The reason why I've highlighted that read blocking is standard amongst the best teams in the world. This system can be extremely effective for the team that has tall middle blockers who can keep their hands high and get touches. Also, with read blocking, the movement of the blockers in the front court also determines where your backcourt players need to cover. So with read blocking, the ball comes over, the setter sets the ball, and if the setter sets the ball to the outside, the blockers will move there. Now with the different blocking strategies, you get area blocking and read blocking, and we've just spoken about the read blocking. Also now with the area blocking is when the blockers have predetermined what area they're going to take away from the hitter. So the blocking strategy usually consists of taking away the area they are most likely going to hit. So the defense will cover the other area of the court. So if your opponent is a good outside hitter, but he likes to hit the line, you will then obviously take the line, and you will, if he hits pass, goes cross court or whatever, at least we will have our cover defense to pick that ball up. And with read blocking, teams with big blockers use a strategy of read blocking. Blockers try and read the hitters during the attack. But you see, sometimes these blocking decisions are made on the fly, and where the blocker is going to block can be unpredictable. But obviously that must be discussed and decided by the coach, and the players must know where we're gonna block and how we're gonna block, and if we're gonna do read blocking, this is what we're going to do, and this is a type of player that likes to hit this angle. So all those things, you will obviously have that discussion in your team meetings and with the coach, and you will discuss that so that when you go on the court, you will know exactly what to do. Now, the different blocking strategies, you get the soft blocking strategy, and soft blocking is a form of blocking where the ball is just enough, to keep it into play, and it is very effective when you find yourself playing against bigger hitters. Okay, so how to soft block? You reach high when blocking the ball, and the objective is to deflect the ball in such a way that it deflects the ball upwards, so that your teammates can obviously make the play. Now with split blocking strategy, you're dealing with a hitter that is consistently hitting consistently hits the volleyball around the block sharply. Okay, so and you may want to disarm and switch things up. So a great way to take an opposing hitter by surprise is by split blocking. Now, obviously, split blocking is not something that happens spur of the moment without any prior planning. You will need to strategize with your teammate ahead of time. This is a type of blocking requires the outside or strong side blocker, or they take the line while the middle blocker takes the angle hit. Now, remember what I said, that these are stuff that you must discuss also, like with your team. So communication with blocking is also vital. Now the swing block. The swing block is a modified jumping technique that uses forward stepping across the horizontal space of the net. Now, swing blocking also describes how the middle is moving to either side to assist the outside blocker. And swing blocking takes better body control than a standard block. But with the right players, obviously, and it may produce more consistent penetration into the opponent's airspace. Okay, solo blocking is when you are blocking alone, and you have to decide if you're blocking line or if you're blocking angle. By choosing one of the other, you are shutting down one of their options, and often you'll be able to guess right, and you'll make you will make a great block. But also sometimes you must judge the when blocking, you must judge maybe the angle, and you guess wrong. So but your defense can still try and try to read your blocking strategy, and then if they know where you're going to block, and then obviously cover the opposite area to pick the ball up. Okay. So the outside inside blocking and vision, and the biggest problem in blocking is not having proper sequencing of eye focus, and this is because we tend to watch the ball too much. Okay, so this is the eye sequences that blockers can use. When you're an outside blocker, you look at the attacker as the ball is passing over the net. Have a look at the outside attacker for an early indication of what they might do. Then you also watch the ball, look at the ball and track it to the setter while still paying attention to the hitter with peripheral vision. Very important. One of Mr. Gabriel's words to me almost 25 years ago. Peripheral vision is very, very, very important. It's key. And obviously back to the attacker, when you look at the attacker for information, where he's going, where you're going to block. And middle blocking and vision, it's almost the same. It's just eye sequences. You look at the attacker, obviously indication where for early indication of what they might do, and then you also look at the ball and then track it to the setter while still paying attention to the hitter with peripheral vision. Track the ball as it leaves the setter's hand to determine direction and trajectory. So in the case of the middles, the setter might just hit set a quick ball for the middle, but then your positioning will be right because you will be right there. But also you still need to check it, look at the attacker if the attack goes outside, because then you have to take focus of the ball as you move to block. Look at the attacker for information. Okay, when you move over to blocker outside ball. Now, and I don't know if you guys can remember the last time I was on my nerves. I couldn't even open my videos. So let's hope tonight I can open my videos. This is just some videos for you to look at, and you can see the double blocks, single blocks, triple blocks. Okay. Yusuf, can you hear the sound?
Yes, Salie.
Okay, guys, and I know time, and I don't wanna I'm not sure. Yusuf, I've still got 2 videos, and Do you think I must play it, or would you rather want me to go on
How
and
long is
close?
how long are the videos, sorry?
I think the females top 10 blocking is about 3 minutes, and the
Yeah.
males top 10 blocking is also 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's a bit long. We've run out of time actually, so I think
Okay.
you've covered all the points in the in the previous slides. So obviously you're kind of reinforcing that now with the video. So I think when people look at the presentation afterwards and just go back to the
Okay.
points, I think that will all be there. Will be there.
Okay, let me go on and then close. I'll most probably be closing in the next minute or so.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Okay, now the tips for blocking. Stay close to the net and on high alert. Very important. And the palm should be facing the net. And obviously do not jump with the setter. We spoke about that. And watch which hitter the ball is set to, and then focus on your attention on that hitter. And pay attention to your hands in the air, make it big, and the fingers spread. And as you stretch to reach your hands over the net, be careful, obviously, not to touch the net. And know exactly where the ball is at all times of play. You cannot block the ball if you don't know where it is. And when you are blocking the outside, whoever is blocking the outside of the court, a good strategy is to line up with the hitter's arm. We spoke about that. And then when you're assisting in form of a double or triple block, make sure that you're jumping in unison. Very important. Okay, we've touched on that also. Jumping in unison is very crucial. And then my last slide is there. It's just about blocking, and watch the hitter, not the ball. Take away the hitter's favorite shot. Seal the net. Never touch it. Deflect the ball into their court. Many spikes don't deserve a block. It's all about jumping in the right place at the right time. So in conclusion, let's do the skill acquisition correct the first time. Don't be in a hurry to move to the next step until the previous step is not mastered. The success of each step is based upon the control and coordination of the previous step. And if we have a common approach as a province, then we will have the same style to conquer. As a coach, be hungry for knowledge. Shukran, guys.
Thank you, Salie. Thank you. Very well done there. I know, like a lot of the coaches and administrators in the session tonight. Obviously, we've been around for a long time, so we've gone through all the basic skills of volleyball. But it's always good to kind of reinforce what you know, and also perhaps learn additional things along the way as well. So very well done in terms of covering the topic quite comprehensively there, Salie. Yeah, it's definitely one for the archives for people to go and look at again. You know, if they can't get the blocking. I know. For example, in Cape Town area. Over the years, you know, having coached as well, you only have so much time to spend training. Like, for example, at most, at the club level, you maybe have 4 hours per week. So the question is, how much time do you allocate to all of the skills, you know, when it comes to the technical part of coaching in terms of teaching the skills and also just reinforcing the skills for the players. The blocking is always kind of at the lower end in terms of time that it takes. You know, but it's very well covered, and thanks for that, Salie. I know there's quite a few comments and questions in the chat here. I think Mario's questions, a lot of the questions have already been covered. Mario's covered that in the chat, but I think maybe Mario, if you can maybe just repeat some of the replies that you, because I think people don't necessarily look at the chat while the presenter is presenting. So if you can maybe just run through some of the important ones there for us, Mario, I would appreciate that. Mario. Okay,
guys,
there we go.
Guys,
yes, yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. So there's one question from Peter. Peter wanted to know how much time do you spend in running the Borders Sporting Club? You're seeing all the stuff that you guys do. So how much time do you actually spend on that? I think you replied there as well, but maybe you can repeat yourself a bit.
Hi guys, I think I did answer it in one sentence, but basically there isn't enough time to to basically do it in. So I can't say I'm spending 5 or 6 hours per week. I'm spending as much time as I can on it. Basically, because if you have 4 or 5 sporting coaches, then opening bank accounts for each one in its name, doing the constitution for each one, and all of that, doing the SAR certification for all of them, it takes a lot of time. So yeah, there's spending a lot of time on it. All of my free time, basically.
Yeah, no, thanks, Laurie. I think Yvette and Elmin kind of asked the same question there, or part of Elmin's question, and I think it's around, let me just get it here quickly. Yeah, basically, will you be introducing sport codes into your club, which is not well known or played in your area? I think very part of that one also, yes. Sorry, there was another one by yes. What about upskilling members to do officiating duties? I think that should be one of your priorities as well. Let's say a question from Yvette.
Yeah, and that's why I've said it depends on each club, on what the need of the club is, basically. But like I've said, if you co-op the right people, then they come, pre-packaged. They come pre-trained, if I can put it that way. So you just need to find the right people.
I think that's key. Otherwise, you sit with what they call deadwood. You get people in positions, but you find out later on that they actually don't have the skills or the energy to actually fulfill their duties. I've got a question around in terms of the people that you take on board. Do you actually sign agreements? Because you started off by saying that the whole structure is kind of from a legal point of view. Make sure that everything is based on your NPCs and your NPOs that you register. So when people come into the organization, do they actually, or the club, do they actually sign legal agreements with the club?
What we do is we have a document that sets out the duties, basically. Yeah. But just to answer that quick, the executive of each club is set up in a manner, or in a legal manner. We members can't elect or vote executive members into power, or take them off. So it's only the board, and that's, we tell them from the get-go. We tell them, listen, the board has the power to go up and to release as well.
Okay. I think so. You're basically running it similar to any professional organization. Like if you take Salie as an example, they have the directors and the board of directors, and they have the people, obviously, like you said, the members there as well. Okay, so well done. You guys are obviously ready for the future, working yourself ready for things to come. So well done. Anything else?
May I say, Yusuf?
Yeah, sure, Graham.
I'm going to say their end of year functions must be epic.
Yusuf?
Yeah. Okay, we got Almin. Yes, Almin.
Well done, Mario.
Yeah, just and earlier, just noting the amount of your staff, Mario, and again, well done on establishing a sporting club of the nature. But just, I think, for the purpose, and look, I know you referred to universities and that, and I'm not asking on behalf of universities. We are covered. We are fortunate that we have resources and things. So for community clubs, basically, and that is why, for one, we have this forum that's looking at establishing clubs, looking at your organization that you currently have. And I'm referring to it as a whole, or just with volleyball. I see that you have conditioning coaches, you have different staff, that's within this organization. Are they volunteers? So that when people start establishing clubs, people must know that if you come on board, obviously money is usually an issue. So are all of your members, or these guys, do they do it? They've own time, and they don't expect money at this stage until, of course, you roll in the big guns and the sponsors.
Let me say, at the moment, the money is basically coming. So they know once there is money, they will be looked after. But at the moment what we are doing with most people that, you know, with COVID, they have been released from jobs and whatnot. So at least we're saying, okay, we'll cover your data, and it comes down to the expense of if we are a volleyball club management team that's about around 10, and we have to buy a gig for one person, which is about 100 rand. You can make the sums there, and you can see how much is going out there per month. But what I'm saying is, these people are honestly doing it out of free will, and they actually put in the hours. I'm telling you. But I can just if I can just give you the secret there. I've mentioned it, and I'm just going to say it again. We need to take more interest in our people. If you connect on if there's a connection, because we have a slogan, or it's not a slogan. It's our culture. It's the club's culture, and it's in Afrikaans. It is liefde woon hier, and love is there. And it's amazing how people just want a place to where they can be, you know, belong to, and where exactly. So if you can create that, I mean, they're not going anywhere, and they're gonna put in the time, and they know it's being recognized, and they look in, you know, someone is saying thank you, or whatever it is, then you're gonna get the people. You just need to create that culture in your club.
Thanks, Max.
Yes, before I throw one question to Salie, not to make him feel outcast here. So there's a comment from Ashley. He says that he coached at school as a school player, and they say your English is no tops no. So well done, Mario, for the journey that you know undertook since your school days. Okay, so Salie, yes. Salie, again a question from Ashley. Yes, Salie, best blocker you've ever played against, and what made this player special?
Okay,
we've had a lot of top players, top blockers in this province. So,
it's actually very difficult because I've played next to, and I've played against good blockers, and the reason why I say it's because it's maybe not. It's difficult to say because I wasn't really a spiker that would hit that could hit the ball very, very high, because I was a lazy jumper, so the blockers could easily block me out, you know. I sometimes try to get a touch, or you know, to go the cross court. So yeah, if you see that hole and dan raak jy maar bang, bro, en dan moet jy maar en jy must maar try other tactics. I see Almin also asked a question about if you have short blockers in the females game.
Yeah.
And Almin, I mean, you also a coach. It's you know, even if you have the blockers, it's the first line of defense, so you must block. So if you have short blockers or whatever, it's better for them to go up, because the minute they go up, the spiker's obviously gonna see, hey, listen here, I've got 2 blocks here in front of me. I must maybe change my angle, and that is what you ultimately want the hitter to do. Change his angle. And then obviously, if you know, even if that short blockers can get a touch or redirect the ball with that touch to your defenders, and you have good libero, good backward defense, you can actually turn that ball into a spiking opportunity for you. So just to get the blocks up there, that's already a good thing.
Yeah.
And then
can I just from the female side maybe add to that?
Yes.
That perhaps and perhaps maybe for the South African context, because obviously, you know, European and American is a completely different story. There, it's obviously goes without saying that the blocks are needed. But just my own experience And yes, you are completely correct. Obviously, that would be your first call to put up blocks. But for me, I always look at what the opponents have, so to speak. And so, and then I would look at what I have on that right side, or because usually our middle blockers are the taller ones.
Yes.
So it's either change, obviously, your middle blocker to block on the outside, or I usually ask the setter, which is the setter or the utility player, if they are on the shorter side, I ask them to drop off the net,
Yes.
So, and sometimes it works and sometimes
Yes.
it doesn't. So I agree with you.
Yes.
Sometimes it's best to put up,
Yes.
even if it's just fingers there, because then your
Yes.
defense, you set up your defense. But also it depends completely on your opponents at times and what you have on your side. But yeah, thanks for that, Salie.
Okay.
Okay. I think there's one more. I'm gonna give one more question here, and it's to Mario. It's by Clint. Okay, Mario, does the teachers have the skills or necessary knowledge to be able to prepare or effectively run trainings for school leagues, matches, and trials, or are they just not interested? And I think Mario has answered that question before, that they actually not interested, but maybe you can just add to that, Mario.
Yeah, basically on our side, it is difficult for the teachers. I'm not going to just say they're lazy and they don't want to, but I know it's difficult for them also. And we realize and we understand that, and that's why we come in and we give support, and we do the training if we need to do it.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sure if that answers it.
Sorry? Oh, yeah, no. Okay, so yeah, I think on that note, we've gone way over time now. Is because we had I think a very interesting topic this evening, and it was the first topic on administration and getting clubs to run effectively this evening, kind of diverting away from the coaching aspects to our webinars. But I think it's obviously necessary dialogue we need to have around running clubs effectively. So I think going forward, we'll probably add a few more of these types of topics in the mix as well. Okay. So thanks again to both Mario and Salie for taking the time to prepare for this evening. Yeah, it's not just the audience tonight that will benefit from it, but obviously for the audience that will go onto our social media platforms to actually see the information there until, over the next years, basically while it's all there. So a lot of people will benefit from what you shared this evening. So thanks again to you guys. I know it's not always easy amongst the work that you have currently at the top and running, your clubs as well. So yeah, thanks again for that. And then also obviously thanks to everyone that always logs in on a Wednesday evening. I don't think necessarily it's because you don't have anything to do, but actually you enjoy what is being presented here this evening. Yeah, and then we just need to obviously just thank our collaboration partners, that being DCAS as well, in particular Mr. Paul Hendricks and Paul Meyer, the department that always supports us at the provincial level. Yeah, and then in terms of next week, we're gonna finish off the series of the basic skills, and that will be the dig, which is not to be confused with the pass. The pass, the reception. The dig obviously is your backward defense on the offense of the opponents. So that will be presented by Ashley Mentor, making his debut next week, and another person making his debut next week on the presentation panel will be myself. I will be talking to you guys about basic volleyball match and training statistics. I think it's a topic that's quite neglected in our midst. So I will try and perhaps add some value there as far as that topic is concerned. Yeah, so that's it for this evening, and thanks again for tuning in this evening. It's really appreciated. And yeah, let's go volleyball across the province. Let's make it strong. Let's support each other. Let's be competitive. When we're out there, that's always good for growth. Let's do it in a healthy spirit as well, okay? And hold each other's hands when we need to, and let go when we have to as well. And then just make sure that we work towards excellence within this province. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate your time. I'll see you guys next week. Make sure to get the other people to come in next week as well. Thanks.
Good night. Goeienacht.
Salam. See you guys.
Ladies.
Ta-ta.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Safe journey, Yusuf.
Thanks, Elmi. I'll send you pictures of the flowers.
Nou, nee, Monty, ek sal kwaad raak.
Hey, Mohammed Shah.
Bye.
Bye. Now he's thinking, what's going on here? What's all this going on here?